Hi, this is Tarot Take today, and I'm going to look at the Seven of Cups and just give you a few ways that it's read commonly and also how I see it today. So, this is the Rider-Waite depiction, of course, and the Seven of Cups is Venus in Scorpio, and it's really not all that happy there. Venus, I guess it's about the all-encompassing love, the beauty, the keeping things light, keeping things joyful, perhaps, and really it's about spreading love, not being too particular, really. In some ways, it's a sort of a general energy, and Scorpio is very intense. And I feel that this card is actually quite an intense card because it can often be a card of choice or choices. And it's like, I've got to get that choice. I've got to do it now. I've got to find the answer now. I've got to appease whatever emotion it is. Perhaps it's an emotion of love, doesn't have to be. It can be any emotion, really, desire particularly. Choices. I see it as choices sometimes, but the main meaning that I get is, it's a choice. But it's kind of saying to me that choose what is best for you, choose what is, you're directed by a higher source, spirit, God, to do. And I see that with this image here. I see this as the Holy Spirit. So, and to avoid other distractions. That's how I see it. Even when, and it's often when there's confusion, the clouds, the symbol of the cloud is really confusion about choices, confusion in a brain fog, confusion caused by some sort of mental illness. It can be also, if seeing this in a love reading, it can certainly be confusion about the person. But if you're asking how does that person feel about you, or to know more about that person, your person, another person related to love, this can mean that they have a lot of choices. So they might have, more than one person on the go, or be the kind of person who likes a lot of choice and doesn't commit necessarily. So in a love reading, I don't see this very positively, really. If you're asking about a person, this can mean some sort of mental issue. It can certainly mean alcoholism or some sort of drug addiction. It can mean that person has some sort of drug-induced confusion. That person has an addictive nature, for example, or an addictive personality. So it doesn't have to be a substance. It could be, they could be addicted to whatever in a relationship, like a codependency, but you'd be looking at other cards around it. This with the Tower could mean, something to be really alert to. This with the Nine of Swords also, and this with, the Five of Swords. This with a lot of swords would mean some sort of mental, perhaps, impairment. I feel that this on a career question is indicating something like, to pursue something that is, that the emotions are, you have strong emotions about, because, this could relate to material things, and it's kind of saying, well, yeah, follow your calling. Yeah, so that's how I'm seeing that one. So I really like this one, the zombie deck, because, it looks like she's going to scream, scream perhaps from different aspects of herself that she perhaps can't make a decision, or she keeps getting, it could even be about emotions, different sorts of emotions and up and down of emotions. There's too much going on in her head. And obviously this is a Cups card, but what it's saying to me is to not necessarily follow your emotions. Emotions are there, and quite often they direct you in a positive way, but sometimes they can be really confusing. And the number 7 is for me is a number of kind of, it's quite an ungrounded number. It can be terrific because it's highly spiritual, but on the other end, if you're not connected well spiritually and grounded, it can just be hopelessly confusing and quite floaty. So that's what I'm getting with that card. This one is interesting because it's got the dragonflies up here. So to me, it's saying that there can be a transformative energy to the Seven of Cups, and it is important to make the right choice of which cup to go to enable that transformation to take place. That's what I get with that. Now this one here it's a beautiful card, and she's pointing to a star. There's different stars here. She is in the clouds, and that's saying her head was in the clouds, or her head is in the clouds, is kind of like a fantasy, and it's very ungrounded. And it's important to, when the Seven of Cups comes up, I guess a question you could ask is, are you grounded at the moment? Are you feeling some sort of emotion that is taking you in a direction that is illusionary, or there's some sort of delusion around this? Are you seeing things that aren't there? Is that hope and dream achievable? Don't throw yourself into whatever it is and lose all sense of what is really possible in this circumstance. Yeah, that's what I've got with that. So generally I find the Seven of Cups is a little bit of a head fuck card, for me anyway, but it really depends on the question. As I said, I suppose if it's career, or you're asking what do you do in this circumstance, it's the same sort of advice. Whatever choices you have, stay grounded. Really, perhaps don't rush into things. It is a 7 energy anyway. Really, don't rush into things. Certainly seek guidance from spirit. And if it is a question about spirituality, then it is really just prompting you to, you know, check in whether your connection is solid, direct, and you're using, or you are in an energy where spirituality is, what's the word? Sought. I'm getting something else now. What I'm getting also too, with regard to spirituality, is to really trust in your own instincts with that. So, you know, if it's about a spiritual awakening or spiritual advancement, just to be careful about the choices that you make with perhaps advice, you know, some sort of guru, to stick with the basics and sort of ignore all the trimmings that can go with, for example, some of the Christian churches, and any church really, but you know, spirituality, connection to God is basically just that. It's got nothing to do with money, nothing to do with material things. It is purely that. And that's what I've got for the Seven of Cups. Hopefully that's helpful. Cheers.